Hey guys, welcome to another video. Welcome to this is a serious video. These are 10 films I think everyone should watch before they die. Our time's coming up sometime, whether it's in your 30s, unfortunately, or your 80s or 90s, and whatever. If you are a lover of cinema and love movies, there are just certain films you just need to experience at least once. Whether you like it or not, you just need to see it. And I can do like a top 100 movies you need to watch before you die. There's a whole book of like 1,001 movies to watch. For me, I just thought of 10 films from different genres. And just these are just movies that I think everyone should watch. And if you're a movie guy, movie girl, you've probably seen all these movies. These are just for even newcomers who want to get into cinema and stuff. These are just for everyone in the world. These, I think, are just 10 films you just need to watch at least once before you die. And like, if you haven't seen any of these films, check them out. I think they're just important films, and I tried being more objective in this list, and I tried not to just put all my favorite films but like obviously there's a little favoritism in here because it is my list. These are just films I think you should watch, but I tried to go more like objective, but there's also some subjectivity in this as well. So yeah, try to bear with me. This is not a top 10 list. These are just 10 films, no particular order. I'm going mostly by genre. So let's start with action. And it's a very easy one. I think the action movie everyone should watch is Die Hard. I think everybody needs to watch this movie once, particularly during Christmas time. I remember when I was still working at the movie theater, we did like a Christmas screening, and we watched Die Hard. And like half my staff like never saw Die Hard. And it was crazy that because I always thought like everyone has seen Die Hard, but apparently not. And when I showed it to everybody at the screening, they loved it. So many people loved it. Some people thought it was just okay, but most people loved the movie. And like, how have I never seen this movie? But maybe it's like a younger generation thing. But if you have not seen Die Hard, go watch Die Hard. It's a great action movie. Like, it has a great hero of John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, and has a great villain, Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman. And both of them, this like cat mouse game they play with each other is fantastic. The dialogue is great. The direction of John McTiernan is top notch. It's funny. It's got great action. It's got holiday spirit. It's just everything you want in an action movie is in Die Hard. You don't even need to watch the sequels. It stands alone as a standalone action film. Die Hard. The sequels are fine, except for A Good Day to eat shit, but the first Die Hard is a standalone action movie. You need to see it. Alright, let's go comedy. I went with Big. This is an interesting choice because I could have went with so many comedy choices. I was really thinking maybe Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but I went with Big because it's an easy watch. I'm trying not to go like too complex with it. I'm trying to go like that everyone could watch and get into it. And I know Monty Python is particular with a lot of people. I love Monty Python, but like some people might not enjoy it. Big is such an easy film to get into if you've never seen it. It's just so charming. It's so likable. It's very funny. And it's got a lot of heart. It's literally just about a kid who wishes on a machine to be older, to be big, and he's an adult. And now he has to live a life as an adult, as like a 30-year-old adult, even though he is a 12-year-old kid. He has to get a job, get his own apartment. He falls in love for the first time. And it's very funny. It's got some dramatic moments, romance moments, but at its heart and core, it is a comedy movie, and it's very funny. It's super likable. I grew up with this movie. I had the VHS tape of Big, and I always loved watching it. It's a movie that's so easy to watch. It's easy to digest. I have also never met a single person who's ever disliked Big. It's just such a fun movie. It's just so likable. It's like a 2-hour comedy movie that just flies by. It's just such an easy watch. And that's why I went with Big. And just, it's a movie, I think you need to watch it at least once. You need to see it once at least. Big. All right, now I'm going animation. This is so like you can go a million directions. I can do a whole list of just 10 animated films you need to watch before you die. And who knows, I can do a whole genre list, but I've done like genre lists before of my favorite movies of every genre. But I can just do like important ones in genres. Like, now we're just getting into so many ideas, but I had to go with Your Name. I know this is my favoritism coming in, but Your Name is a movie I think everyone needs to experience. And I think it's just it's a funny movie. It's got sci-fi elements. It's got romance. It's got a little bit of everything. Maybe not action or horror, but it's got such an enjoyable story, a beautiful story. There's a lot of heart and emotion. And as an animated film, it's got some of the most beautiful animation I've ever seen. The worlds, the character designs, the atmosphere, also the music is so beautiful. It's just such a lovely story. And everyone I've ever met who's watched this movie and gets to the end of it, they just have this like big cry because they just fell in love with this story and these characters, and just it's such a riveting film, and I think everyone needs to experience it at least once in their life. I've been recommending this movie for like 6-7 years now, and I hope people have listened to me. I hope so. Comment below if you've watched the movie Your Name just based off my recommendation. Just let me know. It'll make me feel good about myself. Alright, let's go with drama. I went with a classic, It's a Wonderful Life. Everyone needs to watch It's a Wonderful Life. Everyone needs to. This is another it's a Christmas story, even though it's mostly just a story about a man named George Bailey, played beautifully by James Stewart, and it's about how his life has changed so many people's worlds. And he's thinking about suicide, and an angel comes down and tells him what life would be like if he never existed, and how bad it is. Like how people would die, people would have been in jail or on the streets or homeless, and a lot of corruption would be in this town of Bedford Falls. And he changed the world of so many people. And even though you might not appreciate your life, but your life affects other people. And that's why his life is so wonderful. Even though he isn't super wealthy, even though he doesn't have all these extravagant things, his life changes other people's lives. And it's such a beautiful story. And it's a story that everyone could relate to. And that's why everyone needs to watch. I watch this every year during the Christmas season, and it never ceases to amaze me. It's one of the greatest films of all time. And yeah, if you've not seen it, check it out. All right, next for science fiction. I could have easily went with my favorite film, Blade Runner, but I didn't. I had to go Jurassic Park. Everybody needs to see Jurassic Park. Not the franchise. You don't need to watch Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, or the fucking shitty-ass Jurassic World trilogy. The first Jurassic Park needs to be seen by the world. And it pretty much has. I think everyone probably watching this video has all seen Jurassic Park, which... cool. Then this part of the video is not for you. It's for the people. It's for that 1%, that 1% person that has not seen Jurassic Park. If you're out there and you're watching this, go watch Jurassic Park. Even if you're not a dinosaur fan, you don't need to be a dinosaur fan. It's just a breathtaking science fiction film about a man creating dinosaurs and these group of people going to this island and then getting attacked by the dinosaurs. It's just a great thriller. It's a great action-adventure story. It's a great sci-fi. But most importantly, it has great characters. The characters is what makes Jurassic Park so good. Dr. Grant, Ian Malcolm, Dr. Sadler, John Hammond, Timmy Lex and stuff. The asshole that gets ripped off the toilet seat. Everyone. Dotson, we got Dotson here. Such a quotable movie. Like, it's one of the most... I quote this movie constantly in my everyday life. That, didn't say the magic word. Just, yeah. That's Chaos Theory. It's so quotable. It's so great. It's got some of the best practical effects, some of the best animatronics you will ever see. And it has the greatest John Williams score. So... just your ears will thank you for watching this movie. Shoot! Alright, next I'm going horror. There's a lot of things. There's so many horror movies I could have went with. But I'm trying to, like, reach everybody. Like, I'm trying to pick movies that everyone could get into. And not just a specific amount of people or certain genres of people. I want to try to get everyone to watch these movies. And that's why I'm going with a horror movie that's a lot easier to digest. Because I know there's a lot of people who do not like horror films. They get scared too easily. They don't like gore. They don't like things overly violent, overly negative, or anything like that. And that's fine. That's perfectly valid. So I went with The Haunting. I think this is a very easy horror film to get into. And I think everyone could love this movie and enjoy this movie. Even the hardcore, violent gore people that love the Saw and Hostel movies, I think they can admire and respect everything that's going on in The Haunting. And people who don't like horror films, I think they can really get into this too, because it's a very interesting, intriguing story with good atmosphere, good performances, and good direction. This movie is directed by Robert Wise, and I'm going obviously the original Haunting, not like the show Haunting of Hill House or the piece of shit remake that came out in 1999. The original film, directed by Robert Wise. It's such an interesting story about these insomniacs going into a haunted house, and it's so interesting because there's a lot of creepy moments, but you don't see any of them. That's why it's like a PG horror movie. You don't see any of the scares, even though there are scares in it. But it's all through the main character's point of view, and you don't know if it's in her imagination because she's very sleep deprived, or is she having a breakdown, or is there really ghosts in this house? And that's what makes the movie so interesting. It's so thought-provoking, and just how it's done, it's so atmospheric. It builds to a lot of the tension. And it's just it's almost like a campfire story that you tell when you're camping and around a circle on a fire, and you're just telling like a spooky story. That's what like The Haunting is, and that's what makes it so easy to digest and watch. And that's what I'm trying to make all these lists for everybody to try to get into these movies. And I think The Haunting is a horror film that non-horror fans could watch and enjoy. So I'm going with The Haunting. All right, now I'm going with something interesting. I'm going with an historical sort of biopic kind of thing, for your history buff kind of people. I went with Lawrence of Arabia. I think Lawrence of Arabia is another movie. Everyone needs to watch this movie. Just how epic. It's not just like an historical movie. It's an epic. Like, if you want like a big, huge, epic story, this is like one of the most epic movies you could watch of Lawrence of Arabia. For one thing, Peter O'Toole is incredible in this movie. The cinematography, some of the best visuals I've seen. Not visual effects, just visual camera movement, angles. The cinematography is so good. The action is really good. It is a timeless story. It's older, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel old or dated because the performances are just so good. The story is just so compelling. And just, even though it's like a 3.5 hour film, it flies by. It's a long movie. If you need to watch it in steps, I get it. But trust me, by the end of the movie, you're going to be blown away. Blown away at how incredible this film is. So definitely check this one out. Alright, so now I'm going a musical route. Yeah, I'm trying to go with every like little genre here and there and stuff. So now as a musical, I gotta go with another classic of Singing in the Rain. Singing in the Rain, I think, is the most important musical ever made. It's not the best musical ever made, in my opinion. My opinion. I think like Mary Poppins is one of the best musicals. It's just such a great movie. It's one of my favorite musicals, but I think Singing in the Rain is the most important. And I think everyone needs to watch it. Just the dance sequences, the way the musical numbers are brought out, and the way this is during the time where silent film was like going away, and now more like talkies were there. Black and white was going away, and more color was brought into cinema. It was like kind of out with the old, in with the new. And it was like this very, even though it's an old classic movie, but during the time when it came out, it was a new age of music, a new age of filmmaking. And it's just such an incredible story. Gene Kelly is incredible voice, incredible dancing, incredible performances. A lot of the sequences are some of the most iconic scenes in all of cinema. And just as a person who loves and respects film, you can't respect film without watching a well-crafted musical like Singing in the Rain. So Singing in the Rain is definitely one you need to watch. All right. And now I'm continuing with more of the classics, because classics are classics for a reason. So I'm going with silent film, because I know silent film is not a thing people like to watch, because especially like a newer generation, that's just not their thing. So I think the easiest silent film to watch and to digest is Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. I think this is a silent film because I know so many people can't watch silent films, and I understand. I love silent films. I love it. I love Buster Keaton films and all this stuff, and Charlie Chaplin is one of the greatest silent film actors ever. I think Modern Times is definitely a silent film that's easy to watch. It's not super long. There is actually a little talking in it, but it has great stunt work. It has a story, even now in 2024, that is super relevant to now. It talks about politics. It talks about labor unions. It talks a lot about classism and stuff. It talks about a lot of things, but also it has real comedic stunt work in the movie that is very creative and innovative and just super impressive to watch, even in a modern setting and in modern vision. It's just done so beautifully well, and I think even if you're not a person who can get into silent films, Modern Times is a film that is super easy to watch. I think it's one of the greatest silent films ever made, but I feel like if you're not a fan of silent films, definitely give Modern Times a watch and see if that changes your mind. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but I think it might. And the very last thing is I'm going Westerns. Westerns, like, come on now. We live in a Western countries and stuff right now, so you gotta go Westerns. I could have easily went with my favorite Western, Unforgiven. But I don't think Unforgiven is a great movie. I think it's a perfect movie to me. I just don't think it's a Western that everyone can get on board with. So I went with a Western that a lot of people can, again, digest and watch. And that is John Wayne's The Searchers. I think The Searchers is one of the best made Westerns out there. I think it's superbly directed. I think John Wayne is really good. I think it's just a classic cowboy story of a hero, a villain, a damsel, saving a farmland. It is the classic Western story that you see in all the classic cinema. Like, anytime you see a classic fairy tale or anything like that, that's what this story is. It's just such a simple story, and that's what makes it so brilliant. It doesn't need to be super complex. It's just well acted. It's well choreographed. The action's really good. It's beautifully shot. It's got great music. It's just a Western that is just a Western. A Western of its time. It's superbly entertaining, super engaging, and again, time flies by the end of the movie. So yeah, if you're not big on Westerns, give The Searchers a watch. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I could have went with Blazing Saddles, but I don't know. I think people would get offended or triggered by that movie, but watch The Searchers. It's super good. So there we go. That was my 10 films I think you all should watch before you die. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think are 10 films that everyone should watch before they die? Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.